Okay, so we're at Pendleton. We're going to continue this trip to Longview Ranch. We didn't quite make it last time. We're about 80 miles short. We're going to follow the same strategy as before. We're going to navigate by what we can see. So the first thing we're going to do is hook it round to the right. We're looking for about 187 degrees, I believe, on the initial heading, or at least our initial track. We're going to go up to 6,500 feet, and that's for terrain clearance. We're not too bad here. We don't have any problems with terrain clearance here, but pretty soon we're going to get into the mountains, and at our destination we need that altitude. So we're going on a track 187. We're going for 15 miles initially. We're going to head into some increasingly mountainous terrain. And the first waypoint is going to be, we're going to cross a road going left to right. This is land class based scenery, don't forget, so we're not going to see exactly on the ground what we see on the map. We're going to see something representative of that. This is why we've got these kind of packed, this is kind of desert terrain or very Spartan, fairly bare looking earth from up here. Maybe it's just very brown sort of grassland. But we've got these fairly sharply delineated kind of islands of cultivated terrain, and of course settlements and so on. You might conclude that they don't look particularly realistic, and that's the consequence of the land class. But all in all, the impression is a pretty good one. It's fairly monotonous terrain, but it's becoming less monotonous ahead. You can probably see coming out of that haze we've got some fairly high ground. So those are 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 foot mountains essentially. There is a road going right to left just about now. That's more likely to be the one we're looking for. Okay, so we should be, this is our first waypoint really. We should be turning now to a track of 167, and we should be following with the road pretty much on our right. Maybe I've turned a little bit late there, so maybe the road's going to be right beneath us. The road's not really easy to spot on this. It's very faint grey line, and it doesn't stand out too well from the train, but we can see it, and there's a little bit of traffic on there. Now what we're looking for in the next waypoint, that road is going to have a kink in it about halfway to the next waypoint, and it's going to come across so that it's definitively to our left. Then we're going to see an airfield off to the, well, a small town off to the left, and an airfield beyond that, Cable Creek, and then basically a road junction is where we're going to turn to the right. There's quite a few rivers visible on our route as well. There's a river right next to the road, right ahead of us there in the direction we're going. There's another river system going off to the right there, and then again off to the left. So from the GPS we've just crossed that kink in the road, so the road should be definitively off to our left now. Again, it's very difficult to see. There is a road, but I don't think that's the one. I think the highway has got to be that one there. That's much easier to spot. So that's got to be the highway, and it's in about the right place according to the map. So those mountains are becoming a little bit more visible now, at least off to the left there. There's actually quite a few more trees now, at least out this way. There's an airfield here, and just before it was a small town. That's what we should be seeing. That town should be visible right about now. Well, that's probably over there. That's kind of hard to see actually out of this haze, but there's a town there. There should be an airstrip beyond that, but I don't think we're going to see that. So that's the town, Ukiah, I think that says. And then the next thing that should happen is we're going to meet a road junction again. Hopefully we'll see that on the map as well, on the GPS as well. That'll help us cross-check. We're getting a strange kind of effect over there, and it looks like some mountain peaks just poking up over the top of that haze. So whether that's an authentic meteorological effect, or whether that's just a consequence of the graphics rendering, who knows. But this is pretty rough terrain now. We're heading over. We wouldn't want to come down in something like that. And there's a road going off to the left through that. We're coming up on a river according to the GPS, and that's pretty much going to be where our turn happens, because the road, there should be a road junction there as well, and the river's going to follow that off to the right. This is probably in here, this valley, and we're going to follow that valley on a heading of about 241 now. So we can see down there the road is following that river up the valley. And we're just going to follow this for about another 10 miles. We should go over, according to the map, there's a bunch of ranches where there's a bend in the river around to the left, and we can see that on the GPS as well, and that's where we're going to turn left again onto about 210, 208. But that one's easy because we're going to be heading for a strip called Monument, which is 12S. So what I'll do is I'm going to just dial that in on the GPS, and we might use that in nav mode if we need to. So you can see the clearance from this terrain is not enormous. So we're coming up on that next turn now. So this is Monument here. So we're going to turn at these ranches right about now. I think we'll do it by going on to, we're on GPS. If I go into nav mode, that should turn us. I need to reset that. And nominally we're following this river valley down here, but probably going to kind of cut over the top of these lower hills, and that's 10 miles to that strip. And then from there we're going to follow the river to the main valley that we're aiming for, and OG39. There is a VOR on the hillside at Longview Ranch, so we can dial that in. That's Kimberley 115.6, so we'll put that in on nav 1. IMB, and actually if we dial in the 06 radial, we should be crossing that radial just as we get to the airport. So you can see we're heading into another valley here. We're heading for 12S Monument. That's 3 miles away. And then we're basically going to turn down this valley and fly around the corner to OG39, which we shall dial in now on the GPS. So we're 14 miles from Longview Ranch, but we're going to go around the corner rather than direct. We could go direct over those hills actually. There's no real need not to do that. So it's good just to cross-check different sources of navigational info. If you look on the map, this is where we're heading. This bend in the river, a junction of two valleys, and if we look on the GPS we've got the same thing. You can see the water features on there, so that just helps us. And then of course what we're looking for is to match that to what we see in real life, which is pretty much coming up right in the centre of the screen there. That's where we're going to turn. So we can see that valley that we want to head into just coming into view around the corner now. We can start to descend actually. If I put us onto airspeed hold and then come down on the power, we should start to descend. And we might even see the strip coming into view around the corner. In fact, if I, on the GPS, if I go to nav hold, that should turn us in. So we've got the strip right ahead there. This is nice green valley in the middle of a lot of fairly dry, arid scrubland. Last time I flew here was in the winter, so there was snow all around. Let's go around this way and bring it in on what's going to be runway 33. So 2,000 feet is the elevation, so we're about 2,200 feet or 2,100 feet ATL at the minute. Okay, so don't think we need autopilot now. We need to slow down though. If you look up just on the hillside there's a flat spot that's actually Land's End, which is another strip, and we're going to go and visit that before we leave here. But we won't do that just yet. We're going to put it down at Longview Ranch. So you can see that nice green valley with some photoreal terrain along there. There's a river of course in the valley, there's a road beside it, there's some traffic on that road I can see. Okay, that set us up for a nice approach on runway 33. Quite a scenic approach actually. It's a little bit of a weird strip scenery wise, this one. It's got some kind of boulders and vegetation alongside the runway, which doesn't always render properly, or well, I can't say properly, but it often looks a bit odd. And there's a water runway there, shorter, but right next to the hard strip. Got some nice buildings at the other end, and we've got some strange looking things there, which I think are actually the irrigation systems. This is a very arid area of the country, and this is obviously difficult to grow things along this valley floor. So we've got some spray systems there. We're doing just about 70 knots here. We don't need this whole strip, but we'll land it near this end. You can see those rocks there, they're 3D modelled rocks, and there's some little ones along this side which don't look, and here actually, They don't look okay. I think when you come in the evening, it's when the ground terrain is darker, and the shadows don't seem to affect the rendering of those little rocks. That's what makes them look odd. So they don't look too out of place in this light. Probably came closer to those buildings than I intended. So that's Longview Ranch. We'll park it up for a bit and then we'll go and have a look at Land's End. If we just quickly look at that on the map. Okay, so this is Longview Ranch where we're currently parked, and this is a private strip here. This is called Land's End, and we're going to head up there. So we just need to take off and fly to the southeast or south-southeast. You can see those rocks close up are pretty angular in the way they're modelled. That vegetation is kind of nicely detailed there along the sides. We got off very quickly there. There's those water sprays. So we're high enough now. We're at 5,000 feet and we're comfortably above Land's End. Which is just here. It's looking nice and green. What we're going to do is we're going to fly up the mountain side of it, comfortably overhead. We're going to look for the windsock just to see we can see which way the wind's blowing. The windsock's on the corner of this big barn down here, I think, if I remember rightly. Now this is a short strip, so we're going to use all the flaps. Eventually. Okay, base turn. Probably shouldn't have done this quite as tightly as we did. Full flaps now. There's the strip. And we've got cattle at this strip, so we have to be careful. I didn't do my speed control very well there. Well, there's a cow on the strip. Maybe it'll get out of the way. Whoa, out of control. Very long touchdown. Let's use reverse. This Twin Otter doesn't taxi very well. In Prepared, it's a well-known problem. It takes an awful lot of power to get the thing rolling. So this is Land's End. We're going to just park it here. Next to these little planes.